Hi, and welcome to the NYC Love Kitchen podcast. I'm here with Principal Carlos Pichardo. He is the principal of IS 528 here in Manhattan, Upper Washington Heights. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you for having me here. It is a pleasure and an honor to be part of this. I am honored to be part of this event, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you have done with our families and with our students.
Our listeners are listening to this wonderful greeting that you have shared with me this morning, and it's so kind of you to appreciate the work that we've done together. We're going to be talking about this type of work. So the NYC Love Kitchen has been providing supplemental food to IS 528 for now 2.5 years, I believe.
It's
Right?
more than that.
More than that now.
Yes. Yes.
So how long was it now?
Well, we started basically in June 2020.
June 2020.
Yes.
Wow, time
Yes.
has flown
Everything
by.
started at that time.
Yeah. So as an educator, as a principal, how did you get into the education? Public school education. What was the journey like?
Well, I arrived here when I was 15 years old, and I entered high school. I went to Taft High School in the Bronx, and I graduated. I went to college, and as a good Dominican, I love baseball, and I wanted to be a baseball player, but things didn't work out the way I expected them to happen. So I have an older sister that she was pursuing a career as a teacher.
Okay.
And we always had a great communication and love as my sister. And I decided to go into teaching as well.
That's so wonderful.
So, 1997.
Let's not say all the years
1997.
because you want to give our age. We're looking young.
Yeah, thank
We
you,
look
thank
very
you,
young.
Walter. Thank
Okay.
you. So, 1997, I went back to Taft High School to be a teacher, and then I became an assistant principal in 2006, where I worked with a high school under the supervision of William Quintana. He was an exemplar human being, or he is. So I was there for 13 years as a assistant principal. Then in 2015, 2013, I moved to another school. And then 2015, I became the principal at IS 528.
That's so wonderful. So the school that Mr. Pichardo is mentioning is a public school, middle school in Manhattan, the upper part of Manhattan. For those of you that don't know where Washington Heights is, it's what we call sometimes the forgotten neighborhood of Manhattan. They say New York City is so nice they name it twice. New York, New York, so nice they name it twice. But they sometimes forget of the upper part. And you also mentioned you immigrated to the United States, similar as I did from Colombia. And we found our profession somewhat in a similar way, kind of a mentor. Someone took time and spent time with us and gave us almost a maybe canvas to be able to paint on, because sometimes the young people do not know even what they need or what they want. So being a principal and being obviously probably a teacher and now being at this school since 2015,
Yes.
what are some of the troubles or the difficulties that you have encountered that relate to nutrition and food access, food insecurity, which is what we do in the New York City Love Kitchen at your school? What are those things that are happening? Maybe you could just give us an idea.
Sure. Especially after the pandemic that we went through, our families have suffered a lot. We have a lot of families that they lost their jobs. A lot of family that don't have a dish to eat in front of them every night.
Is that really true?
It is true.
Not even a little bit of food.
Not a little bit of food.
Why would they not have food?
Because they don't have a job. They don't have the funds to. They might have 3 or 4 kids, children. They might be single parents.
Would they be living, like, for example, in a 1-bedroom?
Yes.
Without a kitchen?
Yes.
Without a refrigerator
Yes.
or even a microwave or a toaster?
We have families that they don't have access to the kitchen. They are what we call double up, where they live with a relative or they rent a room in which they are not allowed to use the kitchen.
Wow.
And sometimes they have to basically make food out of what we provide them. You know?
some people would say that when you come to a city, there's so many opportunities. I mean, you come to the city, you're gonna get education, you're gonna have opportunities, jobs, all these different things. But the reality is a lot more grimmer than what we hear, because when a person comes into New York City, they don't realize. I'm talking about people that maybe are coming for the advancement of their family, the betterment of their family. I'm not talking about the wealthy. I'm not talking about those that have had maybe the opportunity to be educated in great places. They find themselves in a city that is a pressure cooker, and trying to make means for their own life is costly, and sometimes they sacrifice food. This
Yes.
is what I'm hearing.
Yes, yes. And we have a good percentage of families where, like I mentioned before, they don't have a dish in front of them every night. They don't have anything to eat. And they wait for every Wednesday that you guys provide the food to us to get something to eat.
Wow.
Yes.
Eh,
When we have families with three children, when we have family that they haven't had a job in 3 4 months, single family, single parents. Um, so it's very difficult to see what's going on in the city of
mhm.
New York, especially in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
You don't feel my pain. I don't feel your pain.
true.
So people that do have a dish in front of them, they don't see that happening.
Mm,
But it is happening in
it
New
is
York City.
happening.
Yes.
The New York City is 8.5 million people plus. I mean, obviously the census tells us of those that answer that they're here, but it doesn't tell us of those that did not answer. So there is hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of people that are living in these conditions in our neighborhood, and we have found a pocket of care at your school. How do we come in contact? Tell me a little bit about, and tell our audience a little bit, how do we come in contact?
It was a magical thing.
Mm,
So we had a teacher that used to work with us, and that particular teacher, she was contacted by someone, and then that person contacted that particular teacher in 2020, approximately in April, and we used to go to Yonkers to get food for the families every
wow.
Wednesday, and instead of being in school, because we couldn't be in school, we used to go to Yonkers and get some food. We used to get two cars, two vans, and go and gather food for the family to have in our school. But we had the fortune that someone contacted that particular teacher, and she connected that person with us, and through Love Kitchen, that's how we started the partnership. That
Yes.
started back in 2020 in June, and since that time we have been together, and families have been so grateful, grateful for
Yes.
the things that Love Kitchen have done for them, to the point that nowadays that we have 250 families approximately.
Hmm.
We get the food around 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, all the food is gone.
Yeah. So it's interesting, Mr. Pichardo, you saying this special someone, and this special someone, it really is a special someone, and it's got the heart of generosity, a heart of compassion and mercy and service. And he tells us that he gained that from his mother, which he is emulating, which is something that gives us a great impact. That the generational understanding of what really is important in life is not the physical gaining of riches, but it is developing relationships and helping others that are in need. And I think that this is one of the reasons why your school and our organization, the NYC Love Kitchen, has really come together. Otherwise, we would have not passed. It was one person
Yes.
contacting another person and then introducing back our two institutions, we could say it that way. And now we exponentially are helping over 250 families with supplemental groceries every Wednesday morning.
Yes.
I have to say this is a very unique example of providing food for food insecure families. It's a private funded endeavor, and it's not something that the NYC Love Kitchen can do to every single public schools. I know that maybe there are some educators listening to us and maybe even watching, or someone even say, hey, we would love to be partners. They mentioned Yonkers, but we're in New York City.
Yes.
You know, realizing our boundaries, and boundaries are created so that we know how far we can go, not so that we could tell the other person where they can go, but how far I can go. And as an NYC Love Kitchen, we can't go any further than where we are at this moment. We really are bursting out of our location, similar to what your school is going through, because I know that your building is a old police precinct. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. Yes,
that's the story of it.
Yeah. It was a precinct up to 1993, and they opened a school, elementary school, and up to today, 2024, we have approximately 250 students that they come every single day, happy students, because especially now that we have the food, that is another resource that is missing. That is missing in our community. Yes, we are a very small building. We don't have all the resources that we may want to have. However, we have the love and the structure for our students.
That is so true. Our name, NYC Love Kitchen, it's what we have as our mission. We don't think that food is just food. Food is life celebration. When you don't have food, you really don't celebrate life well. Like any party, any birthday party, any marriage, wedding, even in the sad moments, celebrating the memory of someone that's passed on, there is food, and food gatherers around. How has the supplemental groceries that the NYC Love Kitchen has been able to provide to your school and your families helped them? What's their favorite part as you've heard them? Because we don't know who these families are. We don't have contact. This is a DOE, Department of Education school. So there's certain restrictions, boundaries that they have said, this is as far as you could go. We are not directly helping them in the sense of like knowing who they are, but you do. And your staff, which is, by the way, unbelievable. They are loving teachers. They literally are the ones that help us carry the groceries inside of the school. This is unbelievable.
Yes.
So what are some of the favorite things that they have said and shared with you?
Well, some of the things that is to see their faces and to see that they have food in front of them. But we are a family. We are a small family in terms of having our students, our staff, like you mentioned before. Some of our staff members, they help carrying the food inside the building, including myself. We have also Miss Brito, who is in charge.
I was going to mention her. I was my favorite part has been Miss Brito, parent coordinator of IS 528. Yes.
And I want to say thank you to Miss Brito because
thank you, Miss
dedicated. Thank you, Miss Brito.
She doesn't want to be on camera right now. Yeah. She's nearby. We might convince her one day to be able to come in and share.
She will. But the reaction of the parents when they come to gather the food, the reaction that the thanking us, thanking Miss Brito, thanking myself, thanking you, thanking Love Kitchen, because of they have something extra. Okay, especially days that when you guys bring the meat. You know that as a Latino culture, we are meat eaters, and they love it. So seeing their faces is part of my favorite part, and I think that their favorite part is when they come to get the food, to gather the food, to share the stories, to send Miss Brito a picture of the plate that they served the family at that night.
Wow,
that's
incredible.
Yes.
And that's not just for posting on the internet, right?
No.
Most people do, like they take a photo of their meal and they do internet, Instagram,
no.
that kind of thing.
It's a way of thanking you. It's a way of thanking Miss Brito. It's a way of thanking me for the things that we do for the families. And that's my favorite part.
Wow.
And the favorite part of the parents sharing that with us.
Yeah. That is a completion of a full cycle. So the story, one tragedy, a pandemic, arises the concern of a local teacher. That local teacher
that went through a tragedy as well. So she was in a tragedy.
Really?
And yes. So through that tragedy, this is what happened.
Yes. Wow. Yes. So this is something that we to be observant of, is that sometimes in life we have troubles, but the troubles are interpreted as troubles simply, almost like a flat-sided event. But in reality, a trouble can have multi sides of benefits. So something like this, a tragedy, turns into the benefit of 250 families
For
now
4 years, for the last 4
4
years. Yes.
and all because one person reached out to another person. That person has a heart of generosity to be able to contribute and make it an impact. By the way, a community that's not the community of that person,
Yes.
which kind of breaks down all the prejudice, the racism, the nonsense that sometimes we hear because someone showed love. And love is about
And having the
giving and
satisfaction of
sacrifice.
doing it.
Exactly.
Having
Yeah.
that satisfaction of sharing
Of sharing.
what he has with the people that don't have anything.
That's so true.
And,
This
yes.
this brings me to this question that may be our last question. We'll see. Is that how can a person that is listening to this podcast, or even a business owner, a individual in New York City, outside of New York City, how can they get involved, or even a corporation? What are the needs of the public school right now, as IS 528? What are the things that you guys are needing?
Well, at this particular moment, besides food for our families, we have the lack of a gymnasium. We don't have the space. Our school, as I mentioned before, it was a precinct, so we don't have the space for a gymnasium where the students can physically do exercise. That they have a basketball team, but they don't have a gymnasium to practice. We don't have an auditorium. Yes, every event that we create, it has to be in another school that we have to borrow the auditorium from other principals. Another big need is the social emotional aspect of our children. We have
I noticed you got a little bit emotional on that.
And right now, I have a particular student that has been hospitalized since December. This is her third time.
Oh no! This is the attempt to take her life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the stresses, and
it's not only her. We have a plethora of students that are going through the same thing, where they are cutting themselves. So we need a lot of the social emotional support from people out there.
How would they go about to get involved with the public schools? It seems like I mentioned the Department of Education in New York City does have a very clear boundary, and it's the largest public school system in the United States. So how would they actually would go about to help? If there is a clinician, a social worker, a psychologist, a therapist, even mentors. So you may have a gymnasium, you may have an auditorium, you may have
space.
How would they go about to do reach out to you guys?
Sure.
And avoid maybe like the not avoid, but maybe really get the permission through the red tape and all that stuff.
So that will be easy. The easier way will be through just Google Carlos Pichardo, IS 528, and everything will come out.
Wow, you're that famous, huh?
Yes, I am.
Wow, that's easy.
Yeah, I've been there for 9 years. So, and we have done a lot for our community. So people will see us there. And our email, Ms. Brito's email, as the parent coordinator, and my email will show up there. And just open your heart to our community, to our families, to our children. It will be beneficial for our families. Thank you.
It's been such a wonderful time hosting you, and thank you for accepting the invitation. I hope that we continue to develop this relationship of mutual endeavor of service to our community. It's not really about us. There's a phrase that I often live by, and that is that whatever I receive is not for me to hold on to, is for me to pass on. And I hope that you understand that that's what food is like. Food is someone planted it, someone grew it, someone picked it, someone cleaned it, someone packaged it, someone shipped it, someone received it, and someone actually looked at it and with creative ideas designed a menu that's nutritious, served it so that you could have a better life, a thriving life. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. If you need to reach out to us, we're in the social media, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all those other social networks that we have. Mr. Pichardo, is there anything that you would like to share with our audience that's burning in your heart, something passionate or something you want to say to your students, your families?
Yes, thank you, Walter. That's a great question. Something that I would love to say to our families is that don't give up on your children. Please be there for them. Please be part of their lives. Please be part of their education. If you give up on them, they're going to give themselves up. Make sure that you support your children. Make sure that they come to the school and that they get an education. If your child is sick, you take him to the doctor. If your child needs an education, take him to the school. That's what I'm there for. And you bring me your child, and I promise you that I will get you a future leader.